by Turkey to be an ambassador for Riyadh season. I advise them to accept because they get paid and they have very little obligation, and it's good publicity for everybody. And how would we object when we have a promotional agreement with them? Every one of our fights virtually is sponsored by Riyadh season. So if we said they shouldn't do it, then we'd be hypocrites. I don't know what Teo should learn how to keep his mouth shut.
Those are the words of Bob Arum. And let me counterpunch. Bob Arum was referring to Teofimo Lopez, as Lopez, of course, was selected, was paid to be one of the ambassadors of Riyadh season. Riyadh season, people, is the new wave of boxing by His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, as you guys know. And Teo has done some things that I know he regrets. So we're going to skip all that. Teofimo Lopez has made mistakes, like we all do. He apologized, obviously, and I think people should stop really trying to take up for him. Teofimo Lopez is a grown-ass man. He's grown. He does what he needs to do. He does what he wants. Well, he does what he wants to do. What he needed to do was, like Bob Arum said, like Showbiz recommended. You know what I mean? Like, just chill, just shh. Because I don't know what's going on with Teo, and you have to really think about it. You look at someone like Teo, he's witty, he's hyper. He was more hyper the last fight. I mean, I think he was the one, in fact, that, had the best fight out of Ryan and then Devin's fighters. But something was not quite right about Teo. You know what I mean? Like, Teo was hyper, and, I know he was excited and stuff like that, but I never seen him like that. Mostly Teo's calm. He has like more of a kind of a passive way of being passive aggressive, not just all out, crazy like that. Hyper, just uncontrollably hyper. It just, had his earbuds on, listened to music while, 6 of them are there. And it's almost like, okay, he had an obnoxious behavior. Okay. I don't know. If I was to guess, people, there's 2 things that cross my mind. One, Teofimo Lopez is entering a mental health, or coming near a mental health breakdown. You know what I mean? Or a nervous breakdown. I think we use mental health too loosely, but something's wrong with him upstairs due to something's going on in his brain. But that could be stemmed from something that we don't know about, that we may hear about later on in time. Just like we heard about his wife and what his wife was doing, and with his baby and the drama with the in-laws and stuff like that. And I really felt bad for him because, no fighter that puts his life on the ring deserves to go through that type of stuff and go through that, But that's what happened. Or he's on drugs. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about the kind of drugs that affect the way your mind and body works, but that's what drugs do, don't they? And whatever he's doing is really affecting his decision making, the way he's deciding to do things. Because obviously when you make decisions like, hey, let me send this post at Turki Al-Sheikh, dictator, you call this man a dick on the WWW over social media, at him, not at anyone else. You, at Turki Al-Sheikh, called this man a dick. So then You decided, oh shit, let me take that off. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that was before. I guess he figured nobody would see it, but you know, people see that because Teofimo has many followers. So you think anybody that looks on social media like people do all day, all through the day, you know they saw that shit. You know they saw it, and you knew they said to themselves, like, what's up with Teo? Why did he call Turkey al-Sheikh a dictator? You know what I mean? So, yeah, they saw it, and they screenshot it, and it got back to Turkey, and he fired him. And that was just disrespectful, and it was. But if he did something at one point and then thought about it at another point, he had to have two different feelings at two different times. What does that normally signify? Drugs. You know what I mean? Alcohol. Drugs of some sort. Because it's like, okay, man, I was feeling this way at the time, but damn, what was I thinking? Damn, I need to lay off that whatever. That's what I think. So it's either he's going through some kind of mental illness or he's going through some type of temporary mental illness due to drug use. But you guys tell me what you think of Bob Arum in this video. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.